Hi, good evening, and thank you for joining this wonderful broadcast group, I call it. I'm really excited. I've been experimenting for some time on different ways to share content and the insight that I'm receiving from the journey that I'm in. And this really feels right to me because it feels kind of cozy and contained, and I really like that. And so I'm really excited. I hope that the things that I have to share with you are helpful. If there are subjects or things that you want to receive some insight on, feel free to reach out. If it's relevant, if I feel that I have something to share about it, then I'll happily make a video on it. There are so many things that I want to talk about that go from my healing journey and the experience that I have with healing to love and intimacy and tantra to loss and grief and the other world to the relationship with the body to the relationship with others to meditation, so many things that I don't know how to make them fit, but and today I was thinking, or I was meditating on what I should start with, what I should start talking about to begin with. And what came, I feel, is fairly controversial, but it's just what came, and it's kind of what I feel is right to share with you today. And it has to do with spirituality, which I realize some people are drawn to. It's a massive generic subject, and some people are interested in talking about it that way, and some people aren't. I understand that. And what I want to talk about within this massive world of spirituality is the difference that I see, and it's important to say that this is just from my experience. This is just my subjective, opinion and insight on it. The difference, the huge and very, very, very important distinction that I see between the concepts of spiritual superiority and spiritual evolution. I think these are two huge, huge differences, and that different things, and that makes the difference between, I believe, a healthy spiritual journey as opposed to one that is not. In general, for me, the concept of superiority and of evolution are different. So, to explain, I can use the examples of, in terms of superiority. I can say, for me, for example, a math teacher who is exceptionally knowledgeable in math, who really, really, really knows his math and really knows how to transmit it and communicate and connect with the students and share the passion of math, we can say is a superior teacher, as opposed to a teacher who doesn't really know his math that well and doesn't really know how to teach it or transmit it or, communicate it. So you could say that that is an example of someone being superior in something as opposed to someone being inferior. When we talk about superiority, there's also inferiority, right? And so that's an example that came to mind of someone or something being superior as opposed to someone or something being inferior. Evolution, for me, and I'm not talking about scientific theory or anything of the sort, is not posed in terms of superior or inferior. It's in the same plane, it's in the same line. So an example of evolution would be a 17-year-old high school kid as opposed to a 9-year-old elementary school kid, right? The high school kid is not superior in any way, is not better than the elementary school kid. He's just older, right? The kid who's 9 years old eventually is going to be 17 years old as well. The 17-year-old one maybe has a more evolved brain, his body has grown, so he's evolving in a certain direction, right? And and so the 9-year-old, the little kid, not being superior or inferior to the 17-year-old, is going in the same direction. It's just 9 years old, while the other one is 17 and at a certain point in time. So you see, it's different. It's not about superior inferior, it's on the same plane, on the same line. One of them is more evolved, let's say, in a certain aspect, in a certain way, physically and mentally. So this is the difference, the main difference for me in what I understand superiority and inferiority to be, and evolution. Someone who's more evolved is not better, it's just more advanced along the way, a certain path, a certain way. And so in spirituality, that's what I believe is the difference between being spiritually superior and being spiritually evolved. And what I've discovered in my journey is that there is no such thing as someone who is spiritually superior. There is no such thing as someone who is spiritually better than anyone else or than someone else. Because from where I'm standing and what I've seen and what I believe is that we're all headed in the same direction. It doesn't matter what part of the road we're in, and we all have a different life experience and we all have a different journey, but we're all headed in the same direction. And so it doesn't matter if you're back there or over there. The fact that you're back there doesn't make you worse, and the fact that you're over there doesn't make you better. It just means that you're more evolved, you have more tools, your consciousness maybe more open, more evolved. But everyone's gonna get there eventually, whether in this life or in the next. And now I'm talking about the afterlife. So this is the experience that I have, and this is how I see it, and this is how I believe it to be. And that is why I think that spiritual leaders in different areas or places, religions or spiritual practices, talk so much about the importance of humility. It's not that someone who is going to be a spiritual leader doesn't have an ego. Not at all. Having an ego is part of being human. It's that they understand, the humility is related to that. It's to the understanding between the difference between thinking that you're spiritually superior and spiritually evolved. No one in this world with skin and bones that is human is spiritually superior. We're all going in the same direction. Many people are more spiritually evolved, or actually fewer people are more spiritually evolved, because spiritual evolution is hard work. They're just further ahead along the road. They're not better or worse than anyone. And a very important part of that journey is understanding that and reminding oneself of that, I think. And that's why also spiritual teachings, it's important for them to be as down to earth as possible. Although that can be a challenge too, but yeah. So I hope what I'm saying makes sense to you and it resonates in some way. I feel it's an important thing to talk about because it puts things in a very specific perspective, and I think it also gives hope when we see that we're all kind of headed in the same direction, which, as I see it, is a beautiful direction. Some people are going a little bit faster, or evolving a little bit more, others a bit more stuck, a bit more trouble, but we're all going in the same direction is how I see it. So that's what I'm sharing with you today. Looking forward to starting to upload more content on YouTube and more written stuff, probably on Instagram, we'll see. And I'm sending you a huge kiss, and yeah, let me know if there's any subject that you want me to talk about, and I'll put it on the list.